In this week's video, I'm going to talk about my mother's recent visit, noticing and recognizing toxic family patterns, and how I'm moving forward with it all. Mom, if you're watching, remember I'm your only daughter. Remember that. Remember that. Hello, the wonderful world of YouTube. It is Darling Nihilism here, becoming your favorite certified Zoomer who has personal lived experiences with mental distress, living with a mental condition, just documenting the journey of personal development, how to overcome these things, maybe not in the traditional way, but in a way that's more effective, more authentic, more real. Through me making these videos and talking about whatever suits me that week, I just hope to foster a community, help people engage in critical thought, and also help people maybe improve their lives in some way. So that's my gist. This week, I'm basically just gonna talk shit. Kidding. I'm gonna just assume throughout this whole video my mom is watching because she's the only one I care about. Okay, maybe I shouldn't put that in. No, but in all seriousness, a big part of personal development is not only just finding ways to improve who you are now, but also reflecting on what has happened, what you could have done better, learning from mistakes and making them lessons. So today I just thought I would talk, again, another free-form, open-ended kind of video about my mother recently visiting me and how I felt about it, things I noticed about my other parent, my father, and how I'm going to move forward in all this. I think I've mentioned this before, that I'm moving to a different city. I don't necessarily right now want to say where I'm living and where I'm going to. I just don't know why. It's just a gut feeling, to be honest. Whenever I make a big move, I always feel that I need to kind of end the chapter. I need to close it to move on. I need to process things before I can really feel a shift. It's not enough to just go somewhere different. You have to really go somewhere different, if that makes sense. Because I think I started with at least this first two videos, I was just thinking, what would other people want to see? But then I'm like, you know what? This is the early stages. This is the early stages of this YouTube channel where I can really do whatever I want, and I should really take advantage of that. So I figured going forward, I'm just going to make what feels right to me in the week, what feels right to me in the moment. And I really do feel that I need to talk about what I experienced seeing my mother, hearing about my family back home, my father, and just all the things. So enough talking, let's get into it. My mother came to visit for 5 days, 4 days, 5 nights, something like that, but basically that's how long she stayed. And I remember when she first told me that, I thought to myself, oh, I wish you were staying a week, at least a week. And now after having seen her, 5 days was enough. Damn. What I mean by that is that I want to be honest. I really want to be honest on this channel. I don't just want to say things to be pretty or look a certain way. I think now is the best time to be the most authentic. And then over time, maybe not censor myself, but just be more cautious about what I want to say. Going back to the point, she was coming to visit me in my city, my territory. It was just something I was genuinely looking forward to. And when it happened, when she came, it started off nice. I hadn't seen her in a few months. And then I started to be reminded of why I needed to move out in the first place, why I changed a lot in how I communicate with her and things like that. I think my brain does this thing of where if enough time has passed, I truly forget what people are like, and I paint it with rose-colored glasses. I'm kind of mashing up two things. For me, when a certain amount of time has passed, I feel that, maybe they weren't so bad. I think I just have this, and this is me being a people pleaser, of just wanting to give people the benefit of the doubt, to be nice, to make everything pretty, to make it just fair or whatever. I just, people pleaser, person with a pussy, all that. But yeah, it started out fine, and then I think it wasn't until the second day where she would say things or do things, and I would just, it got to the point where I was counting down the days. And it's not just, to be honest, it's not that my mother is a horrible person. She's not. I think she's actually a good person. I just don't think she's the best mother. I know she tries her best, and I recognize that, and I appreciate that, because I know some mothers don't even try. I will say this, having parents that immigrated from Africa, from Kenya, I think I can say that, and me being a first generation American, seeing how my friends and people I grew up with in TV shows and seeing what parents were supposed to be like, and then living this a very interesting, let's be nice, very interesting childhood. It got to a point where I started to hold resentment for having to make up for a lot of things. And in her coming here, overall we had a nice time. I wouldn't say it was a bad time or anything, or I'm so glad it was over. It was just at a certain point I was just looking forward to being alone again, because I grew up having to not only deal with myself but my sibling and my parents. So I was always constantly at the least, and I'm not even counting friends at this point, but I always constantly at the least had to worry about 2 other parties whenever I would do anything, and I did that from everything really started coming down at 11, maybe earlier, but to be fair, I'm gonna say 11. Just to be fair and to paint a less biased picture, we went to activities together, and she treated me to a lot of things, and I appreciate that. Genuinely, I really do. Like, I shouldn't gloss over that, because the things I now have, I'm fortunate enough to have a mother that will do that and not guilt me about it, if that makes sense. But I felt that, and this is a whole nother video, I could really make videos going into this. It was just in our family, it was always just the way affection was showed was through money. And me being an emotional, sensitive people person, I just never clicked with that. So no matter how many things I got or how much financial help I got, which I appreciate, and I let my mother and my father know, it's just I don't feel that equates to affection, of understanding, of empathy. If we're being real, I want to be as real as possible now and going forward. Overall, I think it was more beneficial than hurtful in recognizing what I had to deal with and healing parts of my inner child and truly setting boundaries and speaking up for myself a little bit more. But I always try to be respectful because she is my mother. She held me for 9 months. She gave birth to me. Like, out of the 2, I'm going to respect her the most. One thing that happened that I didn't expect to happen on the trip was we went to this park with a great view of the city. And I genuinely didn't plan this. And we just had a open and honest dialogue. And I remember telling myself, only speak when you're spoken to. You don't have to reveal everything, setting boundaries, I don't have to share everything. I don't have to push to have a conversation with someone. I think I did force it a little bit, but I was just thinking to myself, hey, might be the last few times you see your mother. You might as well just be real. This 2 hours out the 5 days. We talked about a lot of personal things I won't get into, revolving around my dad, and he has issues as well. And his behavior is, and probably will always negatively affect our family. And it just got to a point where I told her I just can't hear about it anymore. About a month or 2 ago, I went no contact with my dad, and it's interesting because I looked up on YouTube, and apparently a lot of Gen Z Zoomers are going no contact with their parents. So I didn't even know that was like a epidemic or a thing, trend, whatever. I don't think it's a trend, but a thing that's happening. But I went no contact. And honestly, it wasn't even that big of a deal, if I'm being real, because we never had a relationship to begin with. He never would reach out to me or send me letters or stuff like that. So it was just basically just setting a boundary, but if I had not said it, it really wouldn't have changed anything. But I think it was just the principle of your behavior is something that is affecting my behavior and how I move forward. And I'm not going to try to make you change anymore, because in all honesty, you can't change anyone. People are only going to change if they want to change. But I'm going to keep myself away from it. And in doing so, after I did that, every so often when I would talk to my mom on the phone, I would just ask, hey, how's dad doing? And things like that, secretly hoping that he would have changed or, but time and time again, I'll always be reminded and shown that it does not matter what I do. People are not going to change unless they want to. And so it got to a point where we were getting real, and she was talking about my father. I told her going forward, I just can't hear about him anymore, and I hope he gets better. I hope he has a revelation and changes and all that. If I were to be honest, I don't think it's gonna happen. And I'm saying that out loud because I need to start accepting that instead of holding out for hope. If you've ever seen Big Mouth, they have a spin-off show called Human Resources, and I don't want to spoil it. Check it out, it's really good. But there is a character of Hope, and that character the way she comes into the show and comes out of the show is just really accurate as to what hope can do for your life and how it can hurt you. And I'm not going to say anything is permanent. I told him that the no contact would be indefinite, but for the time being, I just want to accept the reality that's gonna happen, you know? And it's 89-90% gonna happen if I were to put money on it. So I just remember getting really real, just placing boundaries, and also talking a little bit about religion and being a young woman and my perception, and just placing boundaries with my mother, because I always felt, and this wasn't fair to her, I always felt that I would categorize her and my dad together because they stayed together. Again, I don't want to get into their personal business. That feels wrong to get into their personal business. But I just was talking about how reading by Regena and learning how women are conditioned to hate what is innate to us, to be self-deprecating, to be overly self-conscious, and all these things. I am also learning that your mother is a big influence into how you see yourself as a girl and how you see yourself as a woman. And I just wanted her to just know that I don't need to go no contact with her, but just that we need to spend some time apart. We don't need to talk on the phone every week, just for the sake of me growing into not only the woman but the person I want to become. Because if we're getting the most real, I couldn't care less about gender, but this is the world we exist in, and I also want to be realistic about traits of my identity. So in order to be the woman I want to become, I just told her that her influence is hurting me more than helping me. Not telling her that she needs to change or she needs to buy the book or anything like that. I didn't even bring up the book, but just making it clear that certain behaviors and tolerating certain behavior, especially from my father, negatively affects me. And unfortunately, since she is tolerating this behavior, she's kind of grouped with him. You know, it'd be different if she had a boundary and she took a stance, and then it was truly two separate people, but they've always been a single entity in my eyes. And that, again, that's a whole nother video. I keep saying that, but you could really go deep into each one of these topics. And yeah, I'm not sure today how I feel about my mother. I think I love her, but I don't really know what love feels like. And I don't know. I'm grateful she's my mom. I wouldn't want anyone else to be my mother, but I've been through a lot. And it was great to see her. I'm also going to see her again soon, so that wasn't the last time or anything. Yeah. So I touched on this a little bit. I kind of want to go into it deeper of the conversation about hope and accepting what will probably not change. That goes into generational curses and generational trauma and things being passed down. And it's mainly my father, but again, I'm not in contact with him, so I kind of just have to focus on my mother because I do still have a relationship with her in this moment. I want to recognize what has been passed down from Kenyan heritage, also Western ideas, and certain traits I see in my family. And it's very interesting, my family dynamic, because most of my cousins and aunts and uncles on my mom's side grew up, were born in Kenya, are still there. And most of the people on my father's side were either came to America when they were really young or were born here. And it's just two different worlds of seeing how the Western side of it and our indigenous Kenyan side of it all. And just things like Christianity and misogyny and verbal abuse and things like that, how they're just so normalized. Substance abuse, specifically alcohol. Just seeing how it all is and just making choices of recognizing what my genetics are, whether I like it or not. I'm 50% my dad, I'm 50% my mom. And this is the only reason why I would maybe reach out to my father and just wanting to know myself better, to live a more healthy life. It is a privilege to have two parents in my life, and I can reach out to them anytime I want, and I can learn all about my history and all that, and they're from the motherland and all that. But I know why I made that decision of, you know, especially with my dad, and I thought about it, and I really took time to make a decision, and I'm gonna stand on that. And going back to what I said previously, hope can be a beautiful thing. It can also be very painful. And it just reminds me of being a kid and just waiting for someone to come and save you, for someone to be the hero. And then one day you wake up, and you don't necessarily wake up. One day you realize that you have to be your own hero and no one's going to save you but yourself. And that in of itself is painful, but it's also liberating because it means that you really hold the steering wheel in your journey through life. When I think things out and I really think everything definitively and think, okay, your father's never going to change. Your mother's never going to change. These people, these family members are never going to change. How will you go on? And when I think about that, I think, well, I'm going to be living the good life. Like, I know I got a good head on my shoulders. I know that I am mindful and intelligent and intellectual, and it's not bad to just name true things about myself. It can seem a little arrogant, but I spent most of my life being humble.
Damn!
I spent most of my life being modest, and what is that Janelle Monáe lyric? I used to walk up in the room head down. I don't walk, now I float. I spent so much time living this way because not only was I conditioned, but I looked at the world around me and no one really told me what to do, so I kind of just followed suit of the two main people in my life, the two most consistent people in my life. And at 21, the youngest I'll ever be as an adult, technically 20 because you're not a teenager anymore, but 21 because I can legally, in America, do all the things. I'm learning all this now. I'm self-aware of all these things now. So even though things probably won't change and I probably won't have the best relationship with these people and there's so many things I could cry and just feel bad about, at least it led me here. At least this is the person I turned out. And I'm pretty great, if I do say so myself. I like myself a lot. I do love myself. I feel like it's easy to say you love yourself. But again, what I think about love is a whole other conversation. I definitely like myself. I won't want to be anyone else. And there was a time where I wanted to be so different than the person I was and certain traits of my identity. And just for that, it's like, y'all can be what you want to be. Like, I'm cool. Like, I'm kicking it. Like, I'm living the sweet life. Like, I'm really doing well. And I have a bright future ahead of me. I have good friends, good friends in my life. I have a lot of ideas. I'm very inspired. And I know I'm going to do great things. If all the stuff that happened to me didn't happen, where would my writing material be? Answer me that. Yeah, it's sad. It is truly, to be real, to be serious, it is sad that I have to accept that things probably won't change and I'm never going to have the relationship with my father that I always wanted. My mom's never she's never gonna be the person I needed her to be. I'm never really gonna have that brother I always wanted, but that's okay. I have a lot of other things to be grateful for. A lot of people who have loved me and who love me and who care for me. I think sometimes we're so blinded by everything that's going wrong, we don't recognize what's going right. That's something I'm truly trying to change. So I'm floating now. I feel like that. Yeah. I would say to cope, to persevere, again, locking in with my inner child and figuring out what I need in this moment, really building a strong foundation so that when I'm in my mid-20s or something, I can do more and just be even more confident than I am, giving myself the attention I need and being creative and not judging myself. Sometimes I'll literally hug myself, pat myself on the back like in real life, and I don't give a damn if that looks stupid. I don't care that it's weird. It's like I'm assuming, and we can get spiritual on it. This feels like my last life. If people get reincarnated, this feels like the last time. I'm assuming this is my one and only life. So why not do something a little unconventional? Why not do something a little not normal, especially when I'm alone? Like, why am I critical of things when I'm alone? People are already going to criticize me, and learning to handle criticism and judgment is a whole nother thing. When I'm by myself, why am I doing that to myself? Like, the hell? Like, you know what I mean? So I've mainly just been treating myself and truly putting myself first. In my Instagram bio, by the way, I'm back on Instagram. I know I made a video about just being on social media, and I'm not on it as much as I used to be, but I'm back on it, and in my bio, I just put finally putting myself first, and it's because I've never done that. And just seeing where I'm at today and just, making changes and truly doing the things I was told in therapy and when I was in programs and stuff like that, and doing it and actually applying it, and it really does work, but consistency is the big thing. I am seeing progression, but I'm definitely not where I want to be in how I look, how I physically am. There's a lot of improvement ahead of me, but I'm definitely making progress, and overall I just feel good. I genuinely never thought I would be able to just not eat fast food or chips or snacks like that, because comfort food was a big coping mechanism, but now I love eating veggies and I eat eat peppers in the morning, and I've had squash and Brussels sprouts and kale, and it's wild. I really never would have thought to myself like this was happening. And even me moving to this city I'm moving to, I probably will make a video about it, so I'll like say where I'm going to. I'm not gonna say where I am now, but I never thought I would move to this city. I'm just so excited about life, and I literally can't remember feeling this way. And if I could remember, I'd have to have been like a tween. I don't even think I was a teenager feeling this good about life. I think not only just treating myself, but enriching my mind, unlearning things and learning new things that promote genuine, realistic positivity, that promote self-preservation, that promote radical acceptance. These things I think are really important in the modern world. You know, being on social media a lot less, and I'm very grateful for technology. The other day I was thinking about how much I love Bluetooth and Siri and DJX, but also recognizing it needs to be handled with consideration and really being the parent I never got. And I truly believe everything happens for a reason. I don't regret anything. I mean, there are things I regret, but I'm okay with how everything panned out. There's so much I need and want to learn. There's so many lessons and mistakes and things ahead of me. I'm so young. I'm so young. I've never felt so old, but I know I'm so young. I'm just feeling good. A lot of people aren't right now, so I just hope that I can work on that for myself, and it can be infectious. It can help someone else. Yeah, I guess since this was so real, I kind of just want to pass along to anyone who has childhood trauma, who has toxic family members, toxic parents, you've gone no contact with them. I want to recommend this channel that I think I discovered, a year or two ago. I think he's a therapist. I'm not sure, but there's this content creator. His name is Teahan, and he makes videos about childhood trauma and survivors and coping mechanisms, and he does so much good work. So I'm gonna link his channel below. I'm also gonna link again because that's the one for me, and I plan on making a video about what I've learned on that, but I want to get at least halfway through the book to feel like I have a grasp on it, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, if I'm speaking directly to someone who's in the same boat as me, I'm sorry for everything you've been through. I don't think any child is entitled to having to figure such heavy things out on their own, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and there are people that have gone through the same thing, and as long as you are honest and you start putting yourself out there and you confront the truth, you will find those people, you will find that community, not only in other beautiful souls, but within yourself. And I'm living proof, and I have a few people to thank for where I am today, and everything's gonna be all right. And as long as you do what is right and what is true and what is honest, it's all gonna work out. I wholeheartedly believe that. I like this one. I like this video. I feel good about it. And I hope you enjoyed everything I had to say. I hope you took something away from it. Let me know any thoughts, any stories, anything you want in the comments. I really want to, that's a thing I hope for with this channel, for people to just engage. And I just want to hear other people. And yeah, I'm feeling good, guys. I'm feeling good, guys and gals and theys and thems and everyone. I'm feeling good. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning, good evening, and good night. And mother, father, mom, dad, thank you for everything. Thank you. Catch you later.